Alright, so today we're doing a first impressions on Far Cry 6. It's not a review, because I haven't beaten the game, and I refuse to do a review when I haven't finished the game. So, Far Cry 6, should you get it? Is it good? Is it worth the $60? Well, we're here to answer all of that, and hopefully a relatively short amount of time, alright? This video's probably like 30 minutes long now that I say that, but we're going to try to keep it under 20. Alright, so Far Cry 6, if you just want a quick and easy answer, it's like every other Far Cry. That's the end of the video. But in all seriousness, I'm going to be comparing this to Assassin's Creed a lot. Not that the gameplay or any of that is the same at all, but I find with the newer trilogy of Assassin's Creed, you can compare it relatively well to Far Cry 3, 4, 5, 6. Alright, so I want to actually start out with that comparison, alright, and just address my main problem. So, Far Cry 3 is the start where I've done like 3 Far Cry videos in a row, so I feel like I'm repeating myself over and over again. But Far Cry 3, right, you start out and it has the whole outpost and the hunting system and just the over-the-top villain and the story and all of that stuff, and like that's where it really started. That's where like the game took off, alright? And then you have 4, 5, 6, New Dawn, Primal, all that stuff that follows, right? So 3 is kind of the foundation, like starting it all, trying a new idea. Right? That's our Assassin's Creed Origins, okay? It's kind of starting it all. It starts the new RPG system in Assassin's Creed and just starts this whole new thing, right? So that's my comparison there, right? Then you move on to Far Cry 4. It continues that Far Cry 3 formula with outposts, a more refined map, a bigger map, continuing the crazy story with the over-the-top villain, you know, refines the hunting system more, blah, blah, blah. It's more Far Cry 3. And that's our Assassin's Creed Odyssey, right? It's just refined Origins. It's still RPG, open world, maps bigger, the combat and the skill tree and all that stuff is more refined, right? I hope you get where I'm going with this. Now, before this continues, this will probably have slight spoilers for the first 5 hours of the game, depending on how you play it, right? The first island, the first region, basically, there will be spoilers for. I just wanted to say that before the rest of this cutscene plays out. So, Far Cry 4 is what we left up on, so Far Cry 5, right? They take that 4 and that 3 that they've already done, and they pretty much have done it so well at this point, and they just master it, right? They have one of the best open worlds, right? Great villains, great gunplay, huge arsenal of guns. The outpost system works really well, and just master that concept, right? That's Valhalla, alright? They've taken everything they learned from Origins and Odyssey and combined it, let them focus on the story and really put everything all together, alright? So that's your Assassin's Creed trilogy combined with Far Cry right there. So, now we're on Far Cry 6, right? And this is the same state I'm in with Assassin's Creed, okay? So, Far Cry 3, 4, 5 all works really well. Far Cry 5, like, they've mastered it, that's it. There's nothing new, right? And so that's the problem with Assassin's Creed also, right? They started it, they refined it, now they've mastered it. Will I be interested to play another 110 hours of an open world RPG Assassin's Creed? Well, that's the same thing with Far Cry. I've played this action story open world game 3, if you count Primal and New Dawn, 5 times at this point, right? Do I want to play it again? And honestly, not really, right? Like, I'm big on doing everything, finding every chest, every collectible, every outpost, every resource, unlocking every attachment for every gun, all that stuff. Here in Far Cry 6, I really don't care, right? It is what it is, right? Like, I'll get it if I'm going to buy it, but I'm not going out of my way to get everything. I've just done it so many times, and it's relatively all the same thing, just over and over again, so I'm kind of done with it here, right? And so this isn't going to so much be a structured, full-on review. Like, I'm not going to have segments and break it down, I'm not going to script it out all the way, but I do want to just address my pros and cons of the game, so you know if you should buy it. Now, what I like to talk about first is graphics. Now I've gotten that out of the way. The game is very repetitive. It's more Far Cry. That's my overall quick, short summary. Alright, now that we're breaking things down, I want to go into graphics. Alright, the game is 50-50. It can look really, really good while you're in gameplay, while you have control over the character, right? If you're driving your boat in the water and there's like the sunrise or sunset in the background, or you're flying over the mountains and we're freaking taking an outpost at night with all of the lights and all of that stuff, the game can look really good. The exact opposite is true to cutscenes, which I find so weird because, you know, 3 years ago that was unheard of, right? Where cutscenes looked worse than the gameplay, but I don't know if we're just getting to that point now, or if it's just a problem with Far Cry. I've been saying this for a while. All of the trailers and the cutscenes they've been doing, all the promotional stuff just looks really ugly, and that's just how the cutscenes are. They look significantly worse than the gameplay, right? I mean, there's points where the gameplay, visually, is end of last gen, maybe minimum current gen looking, right? It's not the most next gen looking thing, but it holds up, right? The cutscenes, though, they're maybe mid Xbox One, PS4 era. They don't look great. None of the characters look that good, right? And I mean, it is what it is, right? It's thankfully I expected it because of all the promotional stuff, but I just couldn't with the cutscenes. Now, that being said, they're about to do their big, look how good our game looks cutscene, so rule out what I said for this cutscene, alright? But for the most part, just the faces don't look great, like the environments are fine, they don't look next gen or anything. But while you're playing, in the gameplay, which is the majority of the game, it looks fine, it looks good, right? And so, let's go ahead and address just runtime, how long the game is off of my estimations and what I've heard. So if you're just doing story, I've heard 15 to 20 hours. That's not me. I don't do that. I've probably spent in the 12-hour range doing the first region. So I'm probably going to spend close to 40 hours on the game if I had to guess. The first region is significantly smaller than the next 2, 3. So it's probably up there in the 30s or 40s if you want to do everything. And so that's just that. I just want to get that out of the way, put that out there. If you're wondering how long the game is, if it's worth your $60, if this is going to last you till November, pretty much when everything else comes out. So you're going to see here it's going to transition to gameplay here in a minute. And this is where I want to talk about the unique stuff. Again, it's not really a review. The full review, when I finish the game, we'll talk about the story and if the gameplay lasts and the open world activities last for the whole length of the game and all of that stuff. But I just want to address, like I said, the pros and cons and then the new things that they added. So for some reason, they decide that, you know what, they're really loving their RPG trend. I mean, freaking, right, Assassin's Creed been doing it before the whole trend really picked up. But I mean, like, Back 4 Blood has elements of it, like, just everything, like even Call of Duty's got stuff in there, like, everything's trying to do RPG these days, right? And so, what they do, and you can argue with me on this if it's RPG-ish or not, so typically, you get your guns, you find them at outposts, you just buy them through shops, and that's it, that's how guns work, right? Here, you can find them, you can craft them, all of that stuff. Majority of it's going to be actually finding the weapons, but where the RPG-ness comes in, is you have to scavenge for parts around the map to upgrade your weapons. And when you upgrade these weapons, there's attachments like suppressors, different bullet types, sights, magazines, all of that good stuff. And then there's mods, like plus 33 reload speed when changing a half-empty magazine, stuff like that. Right? There's clothes and outfits that have stats tied to them, fire resistance, explosive resistance, movement speed, all that type of stuff. So, in that sense, it's an RPG game. And Far Cry's always kind of been RPG based with their exploring and their hunting to craft medicine and different explosives and stuff. But it's never gone to this point where you have to, go around the map looking for parts to make attachments. Usually that's all used with money, right? That upgrading your backpack, your car, all of that is through these resources that are just scattered around the map. You can get them from doing main missions, will just be laying around. But if you really want to get a bunch of them and be able to customize a bunch of weapons, then you will need to go around and get some chests, free explore, all of that good stuff. And so the problem here with that is that there's so many guns, right? And Far Cry usually has a decent range of guns, but this game has a lot of guns. I want to say there's pistols, SMGs, assault rifles, sniper rifles, rocket launchers, bows, shotguns, and SMGs. I think that's right. And there's probably, depending on the class, 10 cut default guns and then 5 rare guns. These are basically just guns that are pre-made and have special perks on them that you can't customize or do anything like that, but they have an extra boost, like more poison damage or something like that, right? Not trying to get too much into spoilers. So, like I said, there's a lot of guns, which can be a good thing, but the problem with that is that when you get these scraps and these parts, it costs a decent amount to get non-awful attachments, right? This scope here, I think, is like one of the lowest tier scopes you can get. This is still from pretty early on in the game, right? There's suppressors that like block your entire sight just because they're so bad, like low tier stuff. That's not the problem I'm talking about. The problem is if you want like good suppressors, really high powered scopes with zooms, slugs, explosive rounds, if you want really good stuff, then the problem is that you unlock guns, at least the way I play. If you just do story, this might not be a problem, but you unlock guns so quickly that you can't get the amount of resources needed to upgrade those guns fully, right? I can pretty much put maybe a sight and a suppressor on a gun, and then I'm out of resources, and I unlock a new gun by the time I get enough resources to put any type of cool new ammo type or magazine or mods or any of that on there, right? So I don't get to use the full potential of these weapons just because you're unlocking them so fast. Now, is that a bad thing that they have a large range of weapons? No, not really, but it is a problem that at the rate you unlock the weapons, right? And this slows down a lot later on, but in the beginning, like I said, the first 5 to 10 hours-ish, you unlock things very quickly. So, just for the people that haven't played Far Cry, or this is your first one, you don't know if it's any good, or you just haven't played in a long time, what does the gameplay consist of, right? You can say it's another Far Cry game, but what does that mean, right? So, your missions, you can play them stealthily, but it's not really built for that. It's not the greatest stealth system in the world. I mean, neither is Assassin's Creed really anymore, but realistically, it's just stupid open world Call of Duty, right? Here's a flamethrower, here's a nail gun, here's a freaking disc launcher. Just go blow everything up. I was thinking about it, and it's just Cause, but without the grappling hook and the wingsuit. Now, this game has both of those things, but not in the way that Just Cause does, right? And so, what you do, you have your main missions, like what you see here, right? You just go and you're shooting people, blowing stuff up, stealing something, hacking something, your typical open world type shit, right? Your open world activities consist of opening chests, treasure hunts from Far Cry 5, roadblocks and outposts, like in every Far Cry game ever, just clearing out waves of enemies, all that good stuff. Races, again, from, well, most likely from Far Cry 5, right? That's what it feels the most grounded in. So that's your gameplay, right? You do your little thing here and there, you know, you blow some stuff up. It like I said, it's more Far Cry. Okay, so now, again, I'm not too far in the story, like I said, 12-ish hours probably without looking, a third of the way through story-wise. And so, what do I have to say about the story so far? It's fine, right? Non-spoilers. Your friend dies. Well, it's kind of spoilers, but it's in the beginning of the game, alright? And so you join the rebel group that she was part of. Bad guy is bad because he kills people, and you want to kill bad guy. That's Far Cry. It's how it's always been. Bad guy is bad. You kill bad guy, right? Except for not really Far Cry 4, but essentially that's how it works. And everyone's, you know, freaking out because freaking they got my man from list of movies and shows here that freaking is just in everything. He's always the bad guy, right? He's the villain. He's fine. He doesn't do anything crazy, right? Like, I wouldn't be freaking out right now if I didn't know. If he wasn't a big A-list actor, I don't think he does anything special so far, right? And he doesn't really have a lot of screen time. I think, like I said, with the point I'm at in the game, I've seen him, not counting the opening cutscene, 30 times. So, and this is just quick little, like, 2-3 minute cutscenes. So, he so far doesn't really have much to do, right? And so, really, what's there to do here? What makes this worth a new game? That's the problem, right? There's really nothing new here. It's just more Far Cry, like I've been saying for the past months. I've been saying this whole video. And so, just like a side point that has absolutely nothing to do with anything, this game has a hub. Let's talk about it, because Far Cry New Dawn, right? Even Far Cry Primal has a hub, but none of the hubs do this. So I swear I had footage of this. I just saw it, but for some reason I cannot find it. But I'm sure you can look it up, or you've probably seen it at this point. There's hubs, one in each region really, and you can build stuff and build different traders and stuff so that you can get new hunting maps and bows and weapons and clothes and all of that stuff within these hubs, right? There's also cockfights. There's types of outposts that they had in Far Cry New Dawn that you travel to a special location to play. Only 2 of 8 of them are out now. There's also a game mode that is just completely coming soon and not anywhere close to done, so I have no clue what that is. And so the problem here in these hubs, and it's not a big problem like I said, but they put you in third person. I have no idea why, but they put you in third person. It doesn't serve a purpose. It's not like you need to be in third person to do anything. They just put you in third person. I don't know why, but this consistently causes the game to crash. We've had, I want to say 5 or 6 hard crashes, and 4 of them being from the hub. Right, just that transition from first to third just breaks the game. Right, so it doesn't need to be in there. It's stupid. It's literally pointless. But the final thing I want to talk about is performance. Right, because I'm trying to keep this video under 20 minutes, which means I have to talk about this in 2.5 minutes, which is not going to happen. But I want to talk about the performance overall. So minor things, major things. Minor, right? Cutscenes probably every 5 to 10 seconds drop to 1 frame, and then just go right back up to 60, and then drop to 1 frame, and then go back to 60, drop to 1 frame. Just do that consistently, every single cutscene, all the time. It's very annoying, right? Again, that's me. I'm a big visual person. That just bothers me. But you probably might not even notice. Alright? Next bug. Just AI is awful. As you see here, we're supposed to be following this lady. She does not want to go anywhere. We run around in this parking lot for like 10 minutes before she eventually goes where she wants us to go. You have the same problem here. I've talked to this priest dude, and he just nothing, right? We kill him, we blow him up, we kill ourselves, we fast travel. We had to just go do something else and then come back later. Just the prompt to talk was not there, and when you talked to him, it just broke and the prompt went away. So there's bugs like that here and there, crashes, but that's pretty much it for the most part. Textures pop in every now and then when you're in a helicopter, but nothing worse than expected. But those are really the bug problems I just wanted to address and get out of the way. So, is Far Cry 6 worth it? Is it worth the $60? Should you buy it? Should you play it now, wait for sale, or just don't play it at all? Well, it depends, right? If you've played Far Cry everything, right, and you're tired of it, you don't want to play the same thing anymore, you got bored of Far Cry 5 by the end, you're not gonna like this, right? The backpacks are the coolest thing, and the default one is by far the coolest, and they're fine, right? Like, it shoots rockets, it has a cooldown, so it's not like you can use it that often, but it is what it is. It's Far Cry with crafting and resources. Alright. If you've never played Far Cry, yeah, you're gonna like this. Alright. That's where all these 8, 9, 10s come from. People that have never played Far Cry before. Alright. There is a secret ending. We got it on accident. So, that's probably gonna play here. If you don't want spoilers for that, you can leave now. But this is the end of the video. A full review will be coming out whenever I finish this game. But that might be a bit, because we have Back 4 Blood coming out Tuesday, which will probably be a short, very negative review. And then I want to do an Easter egg walkthrough. My god, I've struggled to say this 4 times now, for the new Zombies map. But that requires playing it, learning it, figuring out how to beat the Easter egg, and then making a full video on that, which takes a very long time. Not the video part, but figuring it out and beating it. Alright, so that'll be coming out at some point. But that's about it. If I had to give this a number, which is first impressions, so technically I shouldn't be doing this yet, but right now I'm putting this at like a 6, right? Small annoyances that were only worth bringing up in the full video. Like, the map's hard to traverse. There's a lot of holes and short lanes and just crappy roads that make the map really annoying to try to traverse, but just stuff that's not worth complaining. I'm just a bad driver. Alright, so it could get better if the story gets better. Maybe I'm in a new region now, I like the game more, who knows. But we'll make a review eventually, and I'll see you guys on the next one.
You shitting me?
We're done.
Nice.